Hello, my lovely audience. Welcome to another video. So, I'm charging my phone right now, so that's why the audio may be a little wonky. Okay? So then, welcome to another video. Now then, I just need to quickly say my upload schedule for the next few days. Okay, so there's this, and then Springtrap, what if for the FNAF movie. It's coming out soon, so yeah. Third of all, I'll probably be doing a Hell Deviled Echo afterwards. Then I have no clue, leave suggestions, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, happy spooky month, everyone. So, with that aside, let's get on with the what if. Now, in this what if, there will be a prison, a relatively well-known prison, and a very feared prison. This prison is called Hell. And, well, it is said that anyone who gets locked in there can never leave. Now, originally, this prison was made to contain some of the worst villains to ever exist, all for one muscular. Just think of it like the original Tartarus. However, with, the creation of the prison and the usage of way too many interdimensional quirks and pocket space quirks all at once in one place, it resulted in a ripple, in a shift in the world. And that is how the Death Devil was born. Now, let me explain some things. Now, in this what if, the Death Devil was, the first devil. Now, there are 3 quirk types: mutation, emitter, and transformation. In this what if, there's a 4th, the devil quirk type. Now, for a quirk to be classified as a devil type, it needs to follow a few rules. First of all, regeneration through blood. Second of all, contract creation. Third of all, the ability to gain strength through fear. And fourth, and second most important, only power just went off. Second most important, only beaten by the fear thing. Second most important, immortality. Yes. Now, there is no way to get rid of hell, at least no way found. And all individuals with, a devil type quirk, upon dying, will go to hell. And, upon dying in hell, they'll come back to our world. So, hell went from a permanent cellar to just live out a life sentence to a death sentence. But instead of, dying from old age or starvation, you die from getting torn limb from limb by, individuals with the devil type quirk. Now, anyway, because of, all the fear based around this, place, this prison, the Hell Devil was formed. Now, the Hell Devil just has complete dominion over the place, and, it's the reason that, hell can't be, no one can get rid of the place. Yeah, it's no longer under the jurisdiction of the quirks that made it. It is under the jurisdiction of the Hell Devil. Now, let's get on with the what if. Let's start the what if proper. Our what if starts with a female with, well, black, with a combination of black and green hair, suddenly waking up and springing out of her bed as she would go, Izu, Izu. And, well, her brother, Izu, better known as Izuku, would sit up from, well, the couch he was laying in as he would turn to face his sister. Let's just call her Izumi. No, Izuka. As he would go, what is it, Izuka? Someone's coming to slit our throats. And that's an issue. How? Bitch, I ain't immortal. Like, that's what the conversation that happens. Like, Izuku is like, what do you mean? And, well, Izuka would give me a moment. Izuka would say, my precognition quirk went off. Someone's coming to slit our throats. Do you think it's because we... Izuku would cut her off and say, yeah. Probably. Izuku would then get up, stretch, and say, alright, what are we gonna do? Ambush him outside, or, you know, good grief, brain darksia stopped. Ambush him outside, wait outside to see if he even shows up. Because, well, I'm starting to doubt that precognition quirk of yours. Okay, look, I know my quirk isn't 100% accurate, but it is always accurate when it comes to whenever someone's after our throats. Izuku would sigh and say, fine, just be happy that you're under contract. I know you'd look after me regardless of the contract or not. Izuku would, well, make a mocking gesture with his hand, like closing and opening it, like, yeah, keep telling yourself that. As well, they would exit the motel they were staying at. Now, I'm sure you're all curious about the context of this situation, and, well, I'll go into it a little bit. Now, there are a few rules when it comes to hell, since it was pretty much taken over by devils. The first rule to the place is, well, majority of devils, most kinds anyway, are allowed to leave. But there is an exception. The primal fears. Individuals with quirks based around, well, a primal fear, something that's been with humanity since the start. Individuals that, well, have that kind of quirk are not allowed to leave. It's not like they can't leave, it's just that the government will hunt them down and try and kill them to get them back in hell. But, yeah. Basically, primal fears are not allowed to leave. Regular devils, it's okay as long as, like, they're under strict watch. So, yeah. Anyway, Izuku and Izuka would make their way out, and, well, they would walk around, well, walk down the street, down to a cafe, and, well, down to a nearby cafe. A nearby cafe next to a bridge. Okay. Nearby cafe next to a bridge. As well, they would hide behind the bridge as Izuku would ask her, well, ask his sister, do you even know where they're coming from? Which direction they're coming from? Izuku would look to him and say, oh yeah, I can guess the direction they come from when they walk through our fucking door. Of course I don't know what direction they came from. So we could just be standing out in the middle of the street for them to shoot us. Or we could be hiding in cover. Don't be such a down always. Well, Izuku would respond to Izuku's comment about them being out in the open. Izuku would sigh heavily at his sister's nonchalantness about this, even though he was half asleep. Okay, he had just woken up, so that's why he was so nonchalant about this whole getting murdered thing earlier. So yeah. Anyway, oh good grief, brain diaxis stopped. So yeah, that's why he was not so nonchalant. He didn't realize his sister was immortal like him. So yeah, Izuka would just look at it and sigh and be like, "You're supposed to be the darkness devil. Couldn't you just kill him?" No, I can't, because guess what? Getting out of hell meant that I'm about as strong as the person I've made a contract with. Well, the only person I've made a contract with. Maybe if you allowed me to make a few contracts with some other people, I could actually protect you. Izuka would cross her arms under her chest and pout and say, "Yeah, I'd rather die." And besides, what if they ask for something weird? Yeah, so we could just kill him, and I could drink some of their blood and actually get a bit stronger. Look, Izuku would say, as Izuku would respond with, "Look, I've been giving you as much blood as I could, and it's not my fault that the human body can only make so much blood a week. Yeah, well, at the rate you're going, and it'll take 15 years before I actually get somewhere in terms of strength." Izuku would sigh and say, "Oh, would you be quiet? We're supposed to be hiding from a killer right now." They would both hear, well, from behind them, a car pulling up into the, parking lot of the motel. Once again, they're behind a bridge right now, so they are not being seen. They would hear a car pulling up into the parking lot behind them as a masked individual wearing sunglasses and a hoodie. Well, Izuku sees this. Izuka doesn't, because it's 2 a.m. So, yeah, he would just walk up the stairs, up along the motel, and just walk into their room. He had a key to their door, and he just walked in. As well, Izuka would go, "Oh, he could just walk in like nothing." You know what? No, he didn't have a key. He just walked through the door, physically through it. Oh, a permeation quirk. Great. Izuku would turn to his sister and smirk. She would then get an annoyed face before saying, "No, no, no, no." Oh, as well, Izuku would say, "Oh, come on, it's just a little bit of blood. Just a little bit of blood and I can kill that guy easily." "How? I haven't really seen you do jack shit since we got out of hell. I've been forced to kill everyone else." "Yes, this is not the first time this has happened. I'm running out of bullets." And before you say, and good grief, brain diaxia stopped. "And for some reason you won't let me make any contracts with your devil buddies to get more." As well, Izuku would say, Look, good grief. Sorry, it's like 1 in the morning right now. My brain is not 100%, as Izuku would say. Look, I'm not letting you make any contracts for the same reason you won't be letting me. She would sigh and say, you could have at least let me make a contract with that. Give me a moment. Izuku would sigh and say, do you want me to kill the assassin or not? I doubt bullets are gonna do that much against a guy with a permeation quirk. Well, maybe Izuku would shrug and say, maybe they would do more if you let me make a contract with that gun devil buddy of yours. Izuku would facepalm and say, and if he was born in October or July. In case you're wondering, the gun devil has the ability to shoot any person through the heart as long as they are not born in October, July, and one more month, but I can't remember it right now. I think it's March. Just put together the words, don't die by gun, or will not die by gun, in Japanese, and those should be the months. Emphasis on should. Once again, tired, so can't be 100%. But yeah, the gun devil can't, shoot you through the heart if you were born in those 3 months. But he can shoot you in the head as long as you're either a child within 1,500 meters or an adult male within 1,000 meters. For some reason, he can't just one-tap women. He has to get up. Well, he has to physically see them, I guess. Not really sure. His abilities confuse me. But yeah. So, anyway, Zuka would sigh and say, Fine, I'll give you some more of my blood, but, under one condition. And that is, Izuku would respond with, Izuka would then say, you let me go rob Mom and Dad. What? Izuku would say, kind of stumbling back a bit. You want to go rob Mom and Dad? Yeah, maybe kill them, maybe just rob them. But we need money, and we don't like them. So why not? Izuku would look at her and say, I don't know, maybe because they're high-ranking government officials, maybe because we said we'd never talk to anyone we knew before we got stuck in that glorified flower field. Izuka would smirk and say, yeah, well, we're not going to be talking to him, we're going to be robbing him. And besides, what's the worst they're going to do? Put us back in hell? Izuka would sigh, would yell, and go, yes, they will. You know what? Actually, Izuka is a devil. She's the future devil. Future sight and all that. Once again, weaker outside of hell. You know what? No, she's the future fiend. No. She just has a contract with the future devil. That's better. She has 2 contracts, one with the future devil, one with Izuku. Okay? But she's just a regular human. You know what? No, she's quirkless, actually. Yeah, she just has a contract with the future devil. And the future devil will tell her whenever she's supposed to die. Well, quote unquote die. Just whenever something's going to kill her. Okay? Give me a moment. Anyway, so yeah. Izuku would sigh heavily, relenting, as he would say, fine, I guess it's a contract then. Izuka would sigh and say, "Why does everything need to be a contract with you?" Eh, Izuku would shrug and say, just easier. That way, just a devil's instinct, I guess. Izuku would stretch out his hand, and his sister would take it, shake it, and then the contract had been made. As well, Izuka can feel a good 5% of her total blood supply be drained, as Izuku would seemingly perk up a bit. He would actually perk up significantly, as he would smirk and rub his nose and say, "Alright, time to show you what a badass your older brother is." Izuka would roll her eyes and say, "Did you really need that much of my blood?" Yes, I did." Izuku would just take her hand and walk her into the apartment, open the door, and, see that the permeation guy is not in the apartment. Izuka would use her contract with the Future Devil and, see that he's in the closet. He would look down She would look down a timeline where she walked up to the closet and got stabbed. In case you're wondering how the Izuka's contract with the Future Devil works, it was actually a favor for Izuku. Like the Future Devil did it made the contract with Izuka in exchange for a favor. For a favor from Izuku, considering he's a primal fear. So, yeah. Future Sight in exchange from a favor from one of the most dangerous creatures alive. Seems rather fitting. Anyway, so, yeah. Zuko would say, "He's in the closet." As well, the guy hearing that, in the closet, would jump out, pass through out, knife in hand, as well. Izuku would put his hands together in, the Buddhist Buddhist, I guess technically stands for, the Buddhist prayer for submission. Yeah, look it up. That's the style of prayer used in, that's the style of prayer used for the ability, and also when the Darkness Devil shows up in the manga. So, yeah. Anyway, Izuku would put his hands together in that, kind of style, as suddenly the permeation guy, his body would begin twisting and contorting, wrapping in on itself and spinning, as he would be torn limb from limb and pulled apart at the seams, as he would explode in a fountain of blood. Well, no, he wouldn't explode. Izuku wouldn't go that far. He would just, crush all of his organs and grind his bones into a fine paste, but he would make sure not to rupture the skin. For one main reason. Izuka would look at the body like, ew. As Izuku would walk up to the body, put his mouth against its lips, and drink that man from his mouth. Drink the blood and the bone paste. Just drink him. In case you're wondering why it's not coming out of the rear end, no blood's coming out of there. Izuku used the guy's pelvis as a blocker. Makes sense? Makes sense. As a blockade. As well, Izuku would drink the guy from the mouth, and Izuka would look at him would just look at him with a disgusted face and go, she would say, "Ugh, dude, You could be at least a little more respectful. Like, you're pretty much French kissing him, drinking his insides. I'm gonna have to throw up. Izuku would stop drinking his human smoothie and turn to face his sister. He would lick his lips and say, "What, you've seen me do this like 3 other times this week, what do you mean?" As like Izuku would go, "Yeah, I just never saw you grind that guy up. Just never saw how you grinded him up. I'm gonna need to sit down for a minute." "Oh, you'll be fine. You've done far worse than this." Zuko would sigh and say, "Yeah, fair enough." As well as Zuko would continue drinking his human smoothie, looking significantly healthier than, 10 minutes ago. He even looks a lot more muscular, as, yeah, that was quite a lot of human blood. As Zuko would lick his lips, when he's done, and say, yeah, maybe I should do this more often, considering your subpar blood can't even really get me up. Can't really, get me up that much, if I'm being honest," he would say to lightly tease his sister as well. Zuko would look at him and just go, "Do you have a death wish?" Zuko would chuckle and say, "Like you could kill me." Zuko would sigh and say, Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Anyway, I think we should go to bed. Remember, we have to rob our parents tomorrow." Zuko would, he would shiver and say, "Please don't remind me. I don't feel like getting shot by a bunch of security guards again." "Oh, come on. It's not like it's gonna be that difficult. All you really have to do is, do that, little grindy thing a bunch, and we'll be fine." Zuko would just kind of look at her and say, "Mangling people's bodies is not the only thing I can do, His sister would make a mocking hand gesture and go, Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Anyway, I'm just realizing I haven't really broken the fourth wall that much during this video, but guess it's pretty cool that I haven't really stopped the flow of the video that much to make a dumb joke, so I guess that's pretty neat. Once again, 1 in the morning, sorry if this is a little subpar. If it is, I'll probably do a redo, because if I'm being honest, this is one of my favorite devils from Chainsaw Man. So, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah. Okay. So then, yeah. They would go to, well, give me a moment. They would go to sleep, and, well, the next morning, they would, well, early in the morning, because Izuka, for some reason, has way too much energy, and would wake up Izuku. As she would drag her groggy brother into the assassin's car. As she would climb inside, Izuku would climb in the driver's seat. As she would look at him, pout and say, why can't I drive?" Izuku would turn to her, wiping his eyes, and say, "Look, last time I let you drive, you accidentally, ran over an entire orphanage of children that were, going out for a picnic." Zuko would shrug and say, "Hey, who said it was an accident?" Zuko would just look at his sister, he would just look at his sister for a couple of seconds before smirking and saying, Sounds just like you. She would chuckle and say, You know me so well. As Izuku would sigh and say, Yeah, 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 Tar Soul. Keep on saying that. Izuku would turn her head in confusion as Izuku would put the keys into the ignition and start the car start the car as Izuka would ask, You've been calling me Tar Soul ever since, your quirk awakened, so what does that mean? Zuko would look at her and say, You don't want to know. Is, my soul, made of tar or something? Yes, it is. That's because you are just naturally inclined to be a shit person. Izuka would look at him all offended, like, I am not a shit person. As Izuku would just smirk and say, Yeah, the baby you ate. The baby you ate yesterday says otherwise. Izuka would shrug. Well, she would look to the side and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, the the kid that was paralyzed from the neck down because they got into a horrible car crash, and which you caused, and then you waited until they were just about ready to recover and actually start moving again. Then you killed them and ate them. Izuka would just chuckle and say, Oh, come on, you know it was funny. He would sigh and say, Yes, it was, but still. As well, they would drive off to their parents' house. Izuku memorized the address. In case you're wondering when this takes place, it's at the start of the anime, so they're 14 now. Yeah, they are 14 now. So, yeah. They would arrive in, parking lot, a couple of houses, like 3 houses away from their parents' house. I know I could be using blocks to say how far they are, but my brain's too tired right now, so to me a block is like a look, I can barely compute 2 plus 2 right now. I can't be determining blocks and mageffinating all that. Give me a moment. Anyway, yeah. They would arrive in the neighborhood. It's a quaint neighborhood, not like this big rich pawn show type thing. It's just a comfy, cozy neighborhood. Barely any crime, if any at all. Just a comfy place to live. As well, Izuka would smirk and say, On par were never ones for luxuries. Izuka, I mean, as Izuku would say. Yeah, they never were. They should be out at work now, so I think they should be at work right now, so I think it's time to rob our shit-stained parents. Izuka would give him a thumbs up. Anyway, so yeah, they would sneak around the area, trying to avoid cameras and all that jazz, as they would Izuku would use his status as the Darkness Devil to just kind of take them through the shadows. As well, they would arrive at the house. Everything's going well. They would sneak around as well. Yeah. They would sneak around, grab a few things, and as soon as they enter a room, they would be surrounded by guns. And they would see their parents. as Izuku would be like, the fuck? And Izuka would be like, the fuck? As well, Hisashi would say, you really should have thought that we maybe would have implanted a listening device into, the assassin we sent to kill ya. But no. And maybe, just maybe, it would have been made out of, you know, certain materials that can recover after being crushed and mangled. Zuko would just kind of look at his sister and say, that could happen. No, he would say, that's a thing. As she would look at him and say, yeah, why do you think my shirt, well, it's less so a shirt, more so like a jersey. It's like a jersey. Just like a fluffy top. Not fluffy, but you get it. Like the jackets that don't have the zippers. Yeah, it's a jersey. How do you think my jersey never, broke? And it has always fit me since, we were 3. Zuko would shrug and just say, I always thought you always just bought a new one. Well, I thought they got you a new one. Least they can do. Inko would say, what does that mean, least we can do? As Izuku would just look at them very angrily and say, oh, I don't know, maybe because that jersey you bought was the only set of clothes she had for her entire life. Maybe, it's because I don't know, you locked your children in fucking hell after years of neglecting them, and the only time you paid attention was when your child unlocked a quirk that made him essentially a demon. He would just kind of look at them and blink a couple of times, like, as one of the hired guns they have would just kind of turn to them and say, that's fucked up. As Inko would say, yeah, well, I don't care. Just shoot him. Send him back to hell. As well, Izuka would smile as the dozens and dozens of guns are pointed at, them. As she would turn to look at Izuku and go, you know how I have a contract with you and the future devil? Izuku would turn to face her and say, yeah, I don't think Future Sight's gonna save us from bullets. Izuka would put her hands together and say, well, I have one more contract in exchange for a favor from you, having a primal fear as a brother tends to have its uses. Who did you make a contract with? The Hell Devil. You know what? That explains how we got out. Yes, it does. Izuka would just kind of smile and say, yeah, it does. Yes, that's explain. Yeah, I thought you already knew. I was just saying that for dramatic suspense. Neat. As well, Izuka would snap her fingers, and suddenly everyone would wake up in, a grassy field. Just this seemingly infinite grassy field, and the sky looks to be made out of doors. Inko would look around quickly, like, where are they? She would see Izuka and say, okay, shoot her. She can die. She is capable of dying, so shoot her. As Hisashi would, grab his wife by the arm and say, hey, look, I don't think she's the most of our concerns right now. Zuko would just kind of look at them like, really? As Hisashi would say, I don't see a Zuko anywhere. Inko's face would just go pale, like, oh no. Zuko would look at them not amused, like, look, I get my brother's scary and all, considering he can, like, mangle corpses by praying, but he isn't that scary, like, even in hell, I guess. Inko would turn to face her and like shake her as she would go, you don't understand what a primal fear is. You don't understand what kind of monster that is. Why do you think the strict rules are they are not allowed to leave hell at all, under any circumstances? All for One himself could be raising a city and we wouldn't let a primal fear out. Well, maybe, but specifically the falling one. That's like the weakest out of the couple of them, I guess. The weakest out of the four. But, like, seriously, this is not something that is like, oh, good grief, brain Brainiaxia stopped. This is not something we can dilly-dally with. And him just mangling corpses is not, like, it's not the only thing he can do. It really isn't. Give me a moment. Oh, good grief. Just the sound of... I was trying to, like, put some water in my hand for, like, dramatic effect, but, I'll just give up. It's too difficult. I'm tired. Anyway, the sound of something splattering on the ground can be heard behind Inko as she would slowly turn to face it, face pale and scared. It's a seemingly blotch of black ink on the ground, a good 20 feet away from them. She would start backing up from it, as well as Zuko looks unamused, like, really, brother, that's all you can do? She would quickly be proven wrong, as the darkness would begin expanding and expanding and expanding, as well, Hasashi would try and run away from it, but it wouldn't go with him and everyone else. They all can still see each other, but everything's seemingly turned black and white, and while they can't see anything else from us aside from each other, as they can hear the sound of a frog go ribbit, ribbit. Frog croaking and croaking and croaking as they hear the sound of footsteps. Step by step by step. As well, some of the darkness would lift, or something would seemingly change within it. Maybe they were just allowed to see this. 10 knots strewn across the floor in a line. Well, I'm assuming 10. All in the exact same position of prayer that, well, Zuko did to mangle that assassin. Step, step. They can just hear the sound of a step and a step as something in the distance is getting closer and closer. A frog would croak again. Well, the frog would croak again and again and again. As Zuko would start sweating and say, but brother, this isn't really that funny. I know that, you're a primal fear and all, but, like, uh, Inko looks absolutely horrified, sweat dripping down her face, as she would get on her knees and put her hands together and start begging for her life. Like, I'll do anything. I'll be a good mother. I'll give you and your sister a lifetime's worth of money. I'll pay for everything you ever need. I'll do anything. Please, just don't. Before she could say anything, Izuku would be behind her and, well, in the group. Well, not Izuku. This would be amongst the group, still walking forwards, as everyone except. Give me a moment. The arms of everyone except Izuka would suddenly come flying off, and it would start floating in the air as well. The arms would slowly begin moving together and spell the words Hasashi and Inko Midoriya. Inko would start crying as blood would begin pouring from her ripped off arms. One of the, hired guns would start trying to shoot at Izuku. But the bullets would simply plink off of him, causing light sparks, but nothing really that bright, as Izuku would slowly turn to face him. As for a moment, everything seems fine, but the man gets sweaty, very sweaty, as he would start crying blood, and blood would start pouring from his ears, from his mouth, as he would cough up a heap of blood and collapse onto the ground, dead. Another hired gun with a transformation quirk would bulk up into this bulky-looking strong man as he would jump at Izuku and yell, "My body's practically indestructible. You can't touch me!" He would quickly be proven wrong, as a sword would just appear. A sword with, a finely ornate great sword would appear and slash him in half. The sword bears 4 bells on its guard, as the man would cough up seemingly darkness. He would cough up an inky black substance. The substance would also pour from his severed body parts and lower body, as he would collapse onto the ground, dead. Izuku would turn to face Sashi and Inko, who are sitting together, trying to crawl away together, both armless and on the ground, crying and sniveling, as Izuku would slowly make his way up, and Sashi would yell, "Get away, devil!" as he would use his fire-breathing quirk to create light, causing Izuku to jump back, because as the Darkness Devil's weakness is light. As well, Inko's leg would suddenly explode into blood, and Inko and Asashi would suddenly disappear. It seems like Inko has a contract with the Hell Devil where she can sacrifice a limb in exchange, for moving someone, any amount of people in between these two worlds, as you would say, which explains why Izuka was there. As well, the hired guns are trying to walk away, more so run away into the darkness, as, Izuku would put his dozen or so limbs together into, the previously mentioned prayer stance, and all of them, their bones and bodies and veins would start contorting and stretching and breaking and being ripped apart as, well, each one of them would be crushed and squashed and disfigured and mangled. As Izuku would turn to his sister backing up on the verge of tears and sweating profusely, as in a sickly voice he would go, "Believe me now." Oh my goodness, that voice kills me. I'll just say it again, a bit louder, because I don't think you heard me. Believe me now. Izuku would nod quickly, as, well, suddenly Izuku would turn into his human form, and the darkness would recede. There's a bunch of dead bodies on the floor of hell. As Izuku would just kind of smile at his sister as she would say silently under her breath, "I can understand why the Hell Devil wanted to apologize for keeping your powers in hell now." But yeah, that's the reason the Hell Devil made a contract with Izuku as an apology, because if I'm being honest, no one wants to fuck with a primal fear. Anyway, so yeah, I'm ending this what if off here. Goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience. I'll have to post this tomorrow because my power's off and I don't know when it's coming on, and it's like 2 in the morning. So goodbye. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.